Hello, 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 hello. How is everybody doing? Welcome to this good old them scare live. I don't know what was so scary about it, but we're going to talk about it. How is everybody doing? If you are just getting in the room, please remember to hit that like button. Let me know if I sound okay. Let me say what's up to a couple of people in the chat, and we're going to go ahead and get started because it's a lot to cover and nothing all at the same time. Go Demarcus. Demarcus is in the house. How are you doing, Demarcus? Thank you so much for being here. Pretty girl Danny is here. Hey, Tyra, missed you yesterday. I spent whole day with my sweet baby niece. She's 20 months, didn't nap once. I don't play that. If you're not 5, we can't hang. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Danny. Thank you. Candy Love is in the house. Please hit the like button. Please, please support your fave. Support us. We need it. We need it. Ooh, girl, I've been waiting for this one. Have you, Ducky? I can't. I've been waiting for it too, but probably for an entirely different reason. See one more down here. Damien is in the house. Thank you for letting me know that I sound good. And let's see, what's scary was how less traumatized we were compared to season 1. Oh, John, we gonna talk about it, John Jackson. But without any further ado, you know I am not here to talk about this alone. My girl is backstage, Ashley, with my sweet perspective. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, friend.
How is it going? How are you? How are you feeling? And did you enjoy your time with them, the Scare season 2?
Well, let's preface this by saying I am not a horror girl. Okay. Horror is not my ministry. I'm not a horror aficionado. So this was right up my alley. I watched the first season and was thoroughly traumatized, as someone talked about in the chat. But this one less so, less so. And it was good to me. It was a good ride to me. It was a good, quick, bingeable series. But we'll talk about it. We'll get all up in it. You know what I mean? We'll get all up in it.
I just love Ashley because the sweet perspective fits like a glove. Her perspective is always sweet. I am definitely on more so the horror aficionado side, so I may have a completely different view. But we also have our second guest backstage. You know her, you love her. She has been here several times at this point. Kay Bly is here with all the horror tea. What you got over there in the books, Kay?
You know I got my notes.
Hello, Kay. How are you doing? How are you doing? Thank you for being here, Kay.
Thank you.
I am so sorry about the link. I thought I sent it to the right place. Maybe I did. But how did you feel about this show? Because getting into pretty much that bottom comment down here of this kind of being better or less traumatizing than what the first season was. Kay, I'm gonna come to you first. How did you feel about this season compared to the first one?
I really like this one. I really like this one. I feel they leaned more into the horror aspect. Although the first one it did have a lot of horror elements, but they leaned more towards like the horrors of racism. And this season it was more like psychological horror, slasher horror, and I like that.
Ashley, what about you?
Absolutely. Like I said, season 1 traumatized me. And again, I know I've heard it said a lot, but it was really like race trauma corn, right? And it was overwhelming a bit for me in season 1. Some of the but this one I felt like I liked the deep dive into like psychosis and what abandonment and rejection looks like and what kind of like generational curses look like. Even when you're not raised inside of a family. So I can appreciate some of the deeper themes, I think, in this one. And like I said, I'm excited to kind of see and understand a Black serial unaliver. You know what I mean? So for that reason, I would definitely say season 2 in my mind was better than season 1.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna be by myself over here. Which I don't mind because I'm good rocking by myself. As far as just cohesion and what I thought was written better from a technical standpoint, even though it was traumatizing, there was so much I hated about season 1. And y'all know y'all can run back the entire review. That's their early review, y'all, when I know what I was doing. But if I had to pick, I would watch season one. I felt
Oh.
like with pacing and just intriguing my interest a little bit, and it's not based off of because I think we give a lot of credit to things that are nostalgic. When you go to the 90s and you try to be cute with Boy and Just braids and chocolate skin and 90s music so we can groove to some Sade and some Ask of You by Raphael Sadiq and all of that other stuff, the good old 90s music and just the essence of that. I think it lends a lot of credit to how much we enjoy just the aesthetics of what's going on versus just the plot points in the story. I couldn't stand season one, but I just thought that this was going to be so much more impressive than that. Minus the trauma, I would definitely take on season one before I would ever touch on season two. But that's just me. That is absolutely just me. Am I echoing?
I hear an echo. Yeah.
You know, child, I don't know why I would be. There is nothing else open. Uh, if I am, y'all just gonna have to be cute.
We got
I
it.
just really don't know. Like, y'all just gonna have to be cute. Like, we already here, but thank you, honey. Thank you so much. Moving on to because y'all know y'all can have pushback or whatever it may be. Of course, I'm gonna have my reasons why. I just felt like this just wasn't it, and Ashley knows because I was like texting you every second, like, so when does the happening? Because it's not happening for me. I felt like the story suffered immensely from poor pacing, tonal shifts. There was not enough scares. It was with the scare being in the title, I just expected it to be more effective than the first season. And I think the scare factor was more present there. The plot was really predictable for me. Don got on my damn nerves. The group, I feel like we fell short with the clan and whatever, the cult, what was happening with all the white man. I don't know what was happening with that. Subpar effects, it was cliche and missed opportunities. Now, I said all that
Well,
to say I did like some stuff, but these were my issues.
she had a
Kay, do you
list
have
of.
any? Of course, why wouldn't I?
She said this was everything wrong with it.
No, if you believe it or not, child, this is the short list because I could have added some more.
Oh my
But
goodness.
Kay, what about you? Did you have any issues with the show at all, or did you feel like it was just absolutely perfection for you?
Um, I won't say perfection. I will say I did love it, but I think there was some plot holes. You got to take some good with the bad. Uh, what was happening with the white cop and all of those that whole clan of white men? Like, was that explained? Like, what was they doing? I wasn't too clear on it. And then I'm wondering what was the death of that the black guy that had the son that really was in there cooking drugs. What was his connection? What was his connection to the whole thing? Like, I'm trying to figure out what purpose did his death serve, and like how did he know that there was a monster out of him? Like, what was the covering of the mirrors and the windows? I really
Yeah.
wasn't too clear on why they were doing that.
For me, it felt like we got to a certain point with writing this script, and then by the time we got to episode 3, somebody changed their mind and wanted to do something else. That's what it felt like to me. It was just a complete shift from where we were. What about you, Ashley? What were your issues here?
Well, what I would have liked to see, I'll say that, is I would have liked to see, I guess, more robust characters, right? Like, especially with Dawn. I would have wanted, she came across to me as kind of flat and kind of one-dimensional. I would have
Mhm.
liked to see other sides of her, even at home, like with her husband and kid later in the series when Edmund makes his surprise visit. It was
Yeah,
like, oh, she's in cop mode 24/7.
all
Like,
the
it
time.
doesn't sleep. Like, her relationship with her son, I would have liked to see that explored more, but it seemed like they didn't have one really, like, until
Mhm.
everything went down. So I think as far as character development, I would have wanted to see that more. I also would have wanted to see with Edmund what he experienced in the white folks home, and what that was kind of all about. I would have liked to see a lot of things more fleshed out. And I think with 8 episodes, if you had made these episodes maybe 10-15 minutes longer, we could have
Yes.
explored more of the story. As far as it not being super horror Listen, I'm fine with that. We
I,
don't have to
I
go too dark too fast. Like
I absolutely wanted those that viewpoint of the white family and him being raised, because when he was auditioning and it was given, give me a ride, punk, before I dust her ass, click it. It was given Malibu Most Wanted when he was trying to get his thug on and they was snickling, and I was like, well, why? This would explain why, because he was raised in a different place. I'm like, are you not, like, where you ain't living in Compton, or even just things like us having to make our own context clues, because child, he was working at Chuck E. Cheese adjacent. I was like, how he afford this nice little apartment? I mean, it's the 80s, but money's still money and rent's still rent. I was like, so were they subsidizing his lifestyle? Like, what it was, I just wanted more answers than what we got. But that's let's just move on into the thing. But I had to hit y'all with what I ain't like. Some of what I did not like. But I know that this is why this show was digestible. This is why it's getting any praise at all for me. I feel like everybody is taking on Edmund Gaines and Luke James and what he was able to do here with this role. And like, oh, the show's phenomenal. It was so good. If this was the Edmund Gaines show for me completely, and this was all him, this would have been really good. I was so ready to. I just thought when Mama was the cop and we got that intro, it was given 7. I was like, oh, we finna get into us a black serial killer. We never get that. And then it's even, spoken outright. I think that first audition is like, we never get to portray certain roles. And I was like, oh, they're gonna, it's gonna be a little tongue in cheek and we're gonna follow a black serial killer. Not that we want a brother to be out here hitting people off. I'm just saying. Once we switched over and it was everything but that, I was like, oh, okay. Kay, how did you feel about Luke James as Edmund Gaines? And you said I'd be good. She did say he'd be good. She did.
Me and my sister were talking about this over the weekend, because now I'm one of those, like, that Luke James, he fine and everything. But after this role, we was like, this ain't even fine Luke James no more. This is crazy ass Edmund. He did his homework.
Yes.
I'm like, he did his horror homework, and I am proud that he did that. I can tell that he actually didn't just look at the script and say, I'm gonna go with it. He did his research and really made sure he got into character for this. And again, I didn't even see that fine Luke James that I normally see. I seen this socially awkward, sociopathic Eggman here. So, kudos to him for that. And I want to see more Black people do these roles, these non-stereotypical roles. I love this for him.
When he had on them good old Ted Bundy, Charles Manson, them tidy whitey situation, all the little serious killers. They had them little tidy whiteys on before they about committing crimes.
Forever sitting at home in the tidy whiteys. Like, why is he always no draws at the house?
I was like, we about to really dive into. I was really intrigued about following him as a character, and his performance just made Dawn feel that much more underwhelming. And I was like, okay, this is cute. When are we going to get back to Edmund? And I just kept anticipating, when are we going to get back to him? I wonder what Edmund doing. And it just further kind of pulled me away from the show and my engagement for it, because we do spend a lot of time with Dawn because she is the lead. But I think if we were going to make any mid decisions, because it felt like somewhere in the script they changed their mind about certain things, we should have led, on with Edmund. Ashley, how did you feel about Edmund Gaines? And would you go to his house and bring him some wine?
Heck, I'm not going anywhere near him. Do you hear me? When he was in there with old girl from the casting agency and he put on that stocking cap and the butcher knife, I was like, sir, now you are truly unhinged. You've tapped in. It was giving Heath Ledger, okay? It was giving the Joker when he got into character. But no, in real life, I feel like Luke James did his big one. Absolutely. I was so impressed with his performance. Unlike anything I've seen him in up to this point. I know I saw him in the Issa Marseille Martin movie. I saw him in The Shy. This is a complete departure from the singing Luke James that I know. You know what I'm saying? So kudos to him. Yes. And like you said, if they had done a series just all about his, and I
Mhm.
agree. And to piggyback something you said initially, you were talking about, sometimes the nostalgia sucks us in. I promise the first 20 minutes of the series, and that's probably what did it to me because it was giving poetic justice. I mean, I was getting like the Dahmer show on Netflix, and then I was also getting like Hollywood Shuffle. If you remember the
Mhm.
scene where he's
Yes.
auditioning for the
Murphyonic,
role,
Murph-esque. I saw all those things. I was here for it, and then I
I was
wasn't.
getting Silence of the Lambs,
all of
Yes.
that. Listen,
Buffalo Bill.
A whole bunch of everything. So when he put that leather mask on, I was getting the people under the stairs. I was like, he finna run around and chase somebody with a shotgun. It was a lot of, peak at moments of getting into what could have been. And I don't like watching something and going off of what could have been. Thank you so much, Latoya W, for the super sticker. We greatly appreciate the love. Yes, appreciate you, sis, all day long. Thank you. I just the how increasingly imposing he became within, every single episode. And it was kind of this, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So you just never knew what you were going to get. And it was just like, well, is he trying to get this deeply into this? Like, I just knew I was waiting for him to kill that little poor receptionist. I was like, it was disrespectful how giddy I was waiting for him to kill that receptionist. I was waiting so hard. I was like, oh, that's when it's about to start. We finna get into, character by, catching all these bodies, becoming a real life serial killer, and then he gonna go. I was like, I had the whole plot in my mind. I was like, what? Raggedy who? Oh, we going over there. Oh, I didn't know we was going over here. It just his narrative didn't really tie in all that well with Dawn's. And it seems like they tried to subsidize that by going, oh, they're in two different, time periods. They're 2 years apart. I was like, that's not doing anything for me, especially with Ashley saying, you're not a horror aficionado. I knew that they were separate because Don's narrative is so heavy in the Rodney King, era of things. And then when we get into him, it's completely different. Once he started practicing for the role of the serial killer and he's watching Arsenio Hall and I seen the guest with Jason Voorhees, and just his aesthetic overall. And I was like, he's somewhere. He has to be somewhere else. It doesn't feel like the same weight of what's going on around everybody else is on him, as well as these people in the casting office. It just didn't gel. So when it happened, I was like, all right.
and I know
All
that's
right.
thrown a lot of people off, Tyra, like kind of because there's a levity to it, right? Because there were moments where I was busting out laughing, like I could
Laughing.
not help it. But again, that made it all the more enjoyable for me.
I always say
God.
black people have to digest their horror with a little bit of comedy. We got to break it up with a little bit of comedy for us to digest it better sometimes.
Yeah, and I knew he had potential for this. I don't know. I think it was that anthology, horror noir. I think he was in. And I was like, I think he has space to do, some horror stuff. But when I seen just how far he was going in the role he was playing here, I was like, oh, this is just really good. Just his memory lapse and him and the pig mascot and coming out with the knife and just kind of seeming really unhinged. I just thought that this was going to be something else, and when it wasn't, I was honestly disappointed. But I did try to stick with the show. But I'm not going to front like he wasn't the best thing about it, and I feel like he's the sole reason why this is getting praise. Because if he wasn't here and we were just going to be left with Dawn, I don't think it would be the same. Her journey wasn't as interesting as his. And then I don't know if you guys were, but I thought when we got into anthology, I figured we would be following, and Dawn was here, we will be following all of the same characters that we followed in the first season, just, in different roles. So I expected to see, her children, that beautiful little chocolate girl from the first season. She was so gorgeous. The
She
young
was
lady
there.
who she was not, that was not her.
The first little girl with the long braids who was in
She
the
was the one
foster care.
that was not her.
Are
I
you
checked.
sure?
I
Oh,
did.
okay. Because I thought that was her. I was like,
No, no,
oh,
no
they have
one
this
was
little braid.
present except for Don, up until we get into that final episode. So I was a little disappointed that we didn't get to see them come on and portray these different roles. Hell, the husband from the last one, he could have been a little sneaky link. She was in the pool. We like, girl, he could have been here to do something. He could have been here to do something. But anything else on Luke James and this amazing performance before, I move on.
Yeah, just that I would have wanted to see more. I would have wanted to see more like of his mental health issues because I think that was also a subject that they could have expounded
Yep.
upon more when he's trying to get his meds and they're like, yeah, we ain't got it to do for you, sir. I would have liked to see that because again, he's struggling with not only, abandonment, rejection, he's dealing with like generational trauma, childhood trauma, and then also mental health on top of that. I would have loved for them to explore that more because they made the approach. I would have just liked
Mhm.
to see it, rounded out more.
I would
Most
have liked to see him with
definitely.
the white family too,
Yes,
because
when he
as you
talking
can
about
see that the mama they had another black baby. So I
yes.
kind of wanted to see the process of them finding him and what was their thought like, oh, we're gonna go adopt this little
Mhm.
black boy and
Yeah,
bring him home and seeing him like standing out and around all of these
yeah,
suburban white people and even him being black and being awkward,
yeah,
how that also played into his internal psyche if we would
yeah.
have saw some of that.
My issue was when we have him talk to the white family, or we have Pam Grier's character reflect on his behavior, and it's just like they're not really going into depth with exactly what he did. It's just like, oh, it was, it was almost like a kid had displaced energy, a little bit of ADHD, and we sent him off. I wanted a little bit more of with, especially when we got into the husband and the narrative of him being there with the pills. I was like, were they trying to say that there was, some demonic entity embedded in him? Like, did he withhold the husband's pills when he died on the floor? Like, or was he just happened, to be holding them in his hand? Or, what was actually the strain? Because the white family is saying, we had to remove you to protect our, blood child. We were thinking about her safety. And it just didn't feel like they went really far with exactly what he was, unless I missed it. What exactly was he doing that was just so
They
unhinged
and
that
they and they mentioned him being in puberty and I was like, okay, where are we going with that? But again, they completely backed up off of it. And I was
I
like, well, did
mean,
they think he was gonna touch the little girl? Like, I don't,
or did
I
they
didn't.
think he was like little Mike Myers? Was he out in the woods killing animals or something? Like,
That would fit this narrative, perfectly. Every, serial killer, we have those shreds of steps from childhood that, the Dahmer like effect of, having those beats of the starting fires or hurting small animals, and then we're escalating up until we're older. But it's just like it was none of that. It was like, you know what, you were a little energetic. Had you yelled that one time, so we had to send you away. I was like, what? And then I didn't understand with Pam Grier because it's like they were adopted and they were too connected, and she tried to separate them. They didn't want to be apart, and he would cry for her, she would cry for him, and it was too much. And I was like, what are y'all talking about? Elaborate. Well, did I miss something?
No,
Oh,
they
okay.
didn't. It was
they
just like
wanted
she
us
was
to
like, it was
fill it
just
in the blanks with our
yeah.
imagination.
It
Okay,
was
well, I
just like
just
she couldn't handle it. And I was like, well, did you get the little baby therapy? Like, did you get help? Did you get like some resources in there to like
yeah.
help you manage it? Like, and
Well,
it was
I
just
know
like,
this
nope,
is
we just sent them back, dropped them
a
off.
narrative of a certain time. This is 70s, 80s,
Mhm.
on down. So a lot of those things you couldn't really identify what was wrong, but it was just like, you know what, this is just too much. You got to go. Like, damn, what? And then he was so young. I was like, what exactly did he do? But leaving this amazing performance here, giving Jeffrey Dahmer and old boy a run for his money. You better go off, Luke James. Let's get into who this was, really about. Detective Don Reeves. Ah, yeah, I hit that like button. So we have her as a mother here, as a daughter, this relentless problem solver, once again leaning more into the seven aspect. Like, I enjoy little tidbits of her going through the motions of putting herself in the position of the victim just to really get in. I was like, oh, you girl, okay, you that dedicated. We have her being othered. I'm just gonna put othered in the workplace. And then we have her being distant and emotionally unavailable to somebody like her sneaky link or her ex-husband. Ashley, what were we supposed to do with her?
I don't know too much of what we were supposed to do with Dawn. I will say this. I like the juxtaposition of her having a twin them having a shared lived experience as like young adolescents, and then going two completely directions, but both
Yeah.
having like a propensity to go to the dark side. And we see that later, because I
Yeah.
think if she would have given into that side, she could have been just like Edmund, or maybe worse. I would have liked to actually see them explore that a little bit more. But in terms of her character, I was like, girl, she was a very likable protagonist at all. And I think it's because she was so disconnected and she was always on. And that could be speaking to who she had to be at work, right? In a a white male dominated industry, like the LAPD. But I don't know. I didn't like the dynamic between her and Athena. I thought Athena was silly. I was so disappointed in the character they wrote for Pam Grier, Athena.
Oh.
It wasn't for me. I didn't like her role as mom, as far as Dawn being a mother to her son. She seemed like an absentee parent. It seemed like Iman Shumpert was like the involved parent, and she was just kind of there letting her mom, Athena, and her ex-husband raise the son. I think that her little sex in the pool thing was like a throwaway. I was like, what was the point of that? We don't know this
The
man. Who
whole
is this man?
relationship. The
Sorry
whole
to this man.
relationship. I thought he was serving the purpose of, because the son keeps elaborating on, especially the more possessed he gets towards the end. Like, I know, like, was he better than dad? And you was out, were you working late all those times? I thought we were going to get into the aspect of her being a cheater, and I was like, okay, that would kind of make sense. No, it was just like that was just that, and then it was just like, I want more than this. I was like, why are we here? Yeah, I wanted to leave that and get all the way back to Edmund. Kay, did you care for Detective Reeves?
I- you know, she got, she made me think about, movies of the main star female characters that I do not like Kristen Stewart in Twilight, and the girl in Divergent series. I hated Tris. And so we're just gonna add Dawn to that list of why don't I like any of you in the lead? What are you doing? Making stupid decisions. That's like, why would you do that? That makes no sense.
Oh God.
Why are you going overboard to do something that somebody else is gonna have to help you get out of? You know what would have made her more interesting is if we found out one of those killings was her and not
That
Edmund.
that would have been great. I said either that, or if we had her following this serial killer and us getting closer and closer to her realizing they maybe have this closer kindred connection, to later realize that they are related and he's her long lost, twin. Just something like that, or just see some of herself. She's investigating. I knew this was going to be 7. I just knew.
Definitely a
Gonna
Killing
be
Eve
that.
vibe would have been
Yeah.
cool. Like, I'm obsessed with this person that I'm hunting or tracking. That could have been a cool element that they put in there. But even as a policewoman, can we be honest that there were some really silly moves that she made? Like, why would you follow that man to this lair with all them people, like by yourself? Like,
Why are you running through the hood?
I just put push
In
down
the early 90s, you running through the hood?
because they were putting a lot of stock in there's this heightened tension because of the Rodney King situation, and we slapping all cops down. Like, the way that she focused in on this man and just took, like, there were so many scenarios where I just put, Don, if you want to die, just say that, girl. You ain't even got to send us through all of this. If you want to die, just say that. There was absolutely no connection here, and they tried to wrap it up in a little bow of, oh, he was doing these particular killings. It was supposed to retrace the steps for her to tread to get back to this long lost twin brother. That didn't help. That did not help at all. It really pissed me off when she was beating down the block, knocking pictures off the walls, busting up in everybody's goddamn apartment for this suspect that you just happen to run after in this whole entire crowd. And then we have the racist Detective McKinney come in And you pretty much serve this man up on a platter like he just be waiting on a reason this whole this whole show. And I get my ass whipped just because you wanted to. I don't care if he was silly. I don't want. And then it's like they tried to justify, like, well, he did have a little crack under the oh, look, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. At the moment that you chase me, there was no reason for that. And then you have him say everybody's gonna die. I was like, what is this? What is this? It just really didn't make any sense. I'm like, did he recognize her for her lineage to the Raggedy Ann? Like, did he see whatever? Like, it just didn't really connect for me.
And they was trying to make us get invested in him and his little son, and he like trying to sell drugs to take care of his baby. Where the baby mama at? Like he is a single father struggling, and he got to sell dope to make ends meet, and we about to be invested in his life, and we don't even know how he's connected to the story for real.
No, it just really, we were like leaning more into that trauma that we didn't like from the first season when he just started beating on him, and it's just, oh, stop it, that's enough, don't know. I was like, Don, get your mother. If girl, I just girl, when they push you down some steps, you need to go home. I just didn't understand.
And that should have been the key to just leave right there.
Yeah, I even gave her grace there. I was like, well, dang, okay, they got you. But when she made a whole effort to follow her partner to an unknown, undisclosed location by herself, that's when I was through. I said, okay, yep, you really want to.
Those are the things that got predictable for me, because I'm like, girl, he got to see you. I was like, waiting, like, what you gonna do? We can handle one McKinney. We can't handle 50 of them in a flock doing cultist stuff here. I don't know. It was giving KKK. I don't know what was happening at this function, and we never do find out. But it's just like, you better leave my son alone. I got, what the hell you following for? It was just like she was putting herself in these scenarios to get caught and get hurt. It didn't. She's presented to us as this very efficient, sought after, really highly skilled detective. And then you see her in action. It's just like, so when we have that, you know what's happening next, because she keeps kind of incriminating herself and connecting herself in these murders to a way that she shouldn't. So when it's like, oh no, I can take little Miguel down there. I don't know the baby's name. I can take him, in the car. I can rush him. I was like, oh, he's gonna die in this car, and she's gonna get blamed. And then it just ruins the effect or any shock factor of, oh, they think she did it. She's it didn't do anything for me. It didn't do anything for me. K Block says, well, Benito, like what? I just didn't vibe with any of that. And then when we leave her, and if we're not spending time with her and Dunn, we're spending time with the son. I didn't care. I didn't give two damns about this son. I'm sorry. I wasn't invested.
I was, because I wanted more, and I really hate teen angst. Anybody, the ick in horror movies for me is teen angst. But for some reason, I wanted to know why wasn't anybody trying to figure out why he had OCD?
Why he had OCD?
Why we not talking about it?
I put that little quote down there. He had, you ever feel like if you don't act a certain way, bad things will happen. They had it because he keeps saying that he's using the weed like for recreational purposes. Like, I'm stressed. Like, there's this family curse of, because she's having the heart palpitations and whatnot. And there's just this pressure cooker type of sense of the pressures of just the neighborhood, the racism, the scarcity, him having that resentment that she even is a cop and what they represent, period, in at this moment, and just her lacking presence overall. But they didn't really explain it, but they made it a poignant to like show us that he has severe, like at that moment, and then we didn't see him have OCD again. I'm sorry, Ashley. How did you feel about the son, or even just the actor portraying the son? Did you like him?
Again, I just want more. Like I said, I actually enjoyed the series. But as far as the son, I mean, I guess the story altogether made sense, but when you pick everybody apart individually, Tyra, but as far as the son, I definitely thought mental illness. I thought he was struggling with something, not only because, he was trying to be a musician. We got the connection with his father also being a musician, maybe him wanting to follow in the footsteps, the fact that they were no longer together and maybe he had some resentment, right, with mom about that, him
Yeah.
lining everything up. I was like, okay, he definitely has OCD. And
Mhm.
then the whole thing that happened at school with the little
Mhm.
gal that was supposed to be his friend. It's like, oh, your mom is the
You're a
police.
pig. If I had to hit pig, I was a pig because we
Like,
bad
really?
in the 90s.
That's
Oh, Randy King, you pigs. I was like, say that shit again. I
I'm
was
like,
so
that's what we're
irritated.
doing. Yeah, I'm like, that's what we're doing. Like at the schoolhouse, like all of them. I mean, okay, but yeah, and he's like, oh, she's a child unaliver too, and I'm like, well, dang. But again, we still didn't even get the explosion that we wanted there. And then when the partner picks him up, and like, I just put him in the back seat, and I'm just like, what in the world? It didn't make a ton of sense with the son. I'll just say that. And then also, if you're a demon disembodied spirit of your brother who loved you, why would he want to
Why would you
hurt your
go
son?
after the sun? You see, you're validating every feeling I had, Ashley. Just know
But
that.
no, because I still liked it.
But see, I think, and also if we go back to the first one, like somebody made a good point of in the comments, trauma being passed down generations.
Yeah.
Think about everybody in that first season. Everybody in that house had,
Experience trauma.
yeah, it had some type of trauma and was going through some mental health issues and had their own demons that they were dealing with. And I think they just wanted to show how that looked like for
Yeah.
their generation.
Poorly. Poorly show. Um I got the aspects of the OCD and the generational trauma going all the way to him and Edmund and Don. It was just so underdeveloped. And it was like, if we're gonna put these things out there and not explore them and then just try to sprinkle on, aha, like they're connected in this way, so that's why everybody going through some things. No, I needed more than that. I needed, a whole lot more than that. And the fact that they didn't give any of that, I just was like, but as far as acting wise, so you guys think he did a great job? Like, were we there with that? What was that good on all fronts for you guys?
He made good faces. I mean, it wasn't really a whole lot to do. Like he had good reactionary faces. I'm sorry.
Beautiful gowns.
He
Okay,
did.
beautiful.
I believed he was really scared. I did. When
Mhm.
he
I
started
did
singing
too.
the red man, I was like, oh, he is scared. He's scared. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if you know a demon is chasing you, why is you at the band concert anyway? Why are you
It's
out
like,
there?
I'm going to my performance, and you better not follow me. I was like, what? Even those things, and if something's after my son, you can't pay me to leave my son alone. I'm not leaving you. So it's too much. You stay there. I'll be right back. I was like, these are white situations. This is a black household. What is this stuff occurring? We are not leaving our son, and I wanted more from just on the mental health kick, but I feel like he did do a good job with his role. We needed more of a full circle moment between him and Don, and I think that would have enhanced it a whole lot more. uh Locking up all the niggas. Detective McKinney, the red-haired racist. We put a whole lot of stock in this character, didn't we?
Mr. My first girlfriend was black. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, how did you feel about Detective McKinney and just the essential, I guess,
He was
connection that he had with the plot at all?
Yeah, he played a good racist person. They come a dime a dozen, this type of role or character. I would have liked it to be a little bit more nuanced, right? Since like I said, they didn't go kind of overboard with the racial tension.
Yeah.
I wished it would have been more nuanced and less more on the nose. Because he wouldn't hide nothing. I mean, he was
No.
blatant with it from the very beginning. I thought, it was an interesting take to make him out to be the serial unaliver. I thought that
Mhm.
was, hey, it sent people down a path. I never believed it was him anyway, but
Right.
I say it was something to do. Him being crooked, not surprising. Him having his whole little, hate group, not surprising to me. But I think serving the purpose that he was intended, he did that. He was you hated him, right? He was the quintessential racist cop.
But we got like the overt racism the first season. I just wanted some undertone. Like, it was just so cliche the way that, and there were so many moments of her just being like, "Oh, I'm in such fear. Like, I'm just shook. I need to go for my gun." And then but at the same time, we could follow him all the way and get out the car. And it was like, girl, you scared or not? I don't believe it. He was just supposed to be so menacing, and they spent a lot of time trying to paint him as a suspect. Or it just, I was like, he ain't the, why we here? He is not the suspect. Let's get back to Edmund. That's what I was yelling. But Kay, how did you feel about Detective McKinney?
I want to know what they was doing. It was, did you see how many of them it was? Like when he first came out, like it was like two or three, and then some of them came from the side, and they came from the left side, and some of them came from the back. Like, what were y'all doing?
Mm-mm.
Having a
Not even
secret.
that. The first time we meet him and we have the interrogation scene, and he's popping the knuckles and they keep veering over to that camera, I just thought he was going to serve a higher purpose. It was kind of giving me like Lovecraft Country vibes a little bit, like the police that were there. And I was like, maybe there is a supernatural element to him, or something that we're not aware of, because they did try to put this eerie vibe around him. And it's just like, no, he's a racist detective. Because the boy was like in fear, and he's like, I visited the house once. He studied, we spent a whole 3 episodes. It was a 16-year-old, lock him up. I was like, oh my God, how many times is he gonna say that? But I just thought that he was going to serve more of a purpose than just being simply a racist. I thought that was just so easy for him to be. And it was, I thought the cult was going to come back into play. It was like, no, he's just racist. And He-Man Woman Haters Club. Shout out to, Spanky. Okay.
I did think that at some point he was going to redeem himself and like maybe have her back, but no. But
I
no.
was I was wondering, hoping for more with the interaction, like with the son. I thought that might lead to something else. I know she met with his wife, and I'm like, to what end? It just fell off for me. But I think it was going somewhere. It could have went somewhere, with those, but it stayed.
Somebody changed their mind. I was like, oh, because by the time that happened, and we have those, which I hated, like, don't give us the plot, don't give the plot away to us. We have that frame by frame of her and Edmund kind of doing the same thing at the same time and kind of sizing up their prey. He's looking at the receptionist and she's looking at him. I knew they were linked then, and then we have that cover of the yarn. I was like, okay, they're clearly long distance cousins or something. There's some type of link, but I thought she was about to descend into kind of infiltrating his life, and we were going to go down this, just kind of her going maybe into the darker side and just a down spiral, because she is just so dedicated, and there is those undertones of you never know when to quit, or even just her heightened temperament. They keep hovering over her beating up a pimp, and just some type of temperament. I was like, okay, well, I was like, oh, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
we're not doing that. We weren't doing that. Okay. We weren't doing that. But I just, oh man, I feel like I'm not saying I liked anything about it. I did like, some things about the show, but
It was
by the
very
time,
binge worthy.
yeah, I mean, it was quick. It was a cute, quick situation. But just even the bottom thing where we have, just the man and the whole, like, I just thought, I was like, are they a part of this cult? Like, I was just trying to draw connections that weren't there for a long time, and it just made me long
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
simpler times with Edmund and me anticipating him being a serial killer. When I tell you, I was so disappointed when he has the interrogation scene, and it's like he's reenacting lines. He's not, the South Side Strangler, and he's not about to hit up some sex workers. I was like, I was so mad at that. And we don't even get any closure with that. It was just like we were having just a whole separate thing of, because we have her linger at the wall of all of these women that are missing, and I was like, is that going to be Edmund, since this is they're in different time zones? I was like, oh, Edmund killed all them women. Oh, let me see. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It wasn't that, but I just was all geared up for her to be following Edmund the serial killer, to only find out that it was her twin brother. Yeah, we didn't do that. Graphics, carnage, and kills. Kay, how did you feel about what little carnage we did get in the the contouring of it all? How did you feel about it? Did you like it?
Oh, I like that part.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like the effects were handled well for you?
Yeah. For me, of course, that I don't scare easily. So I mean, it's right up my alley. But I can see people who are not big horror fans being really grossed out and terrified watching some of the. I feel like the non horror people would have been like, "Oh no, this is it for me. I can't do that." That would have
Because I was
that has scared
laughing.
away the other people. But for me, I was just like, "Oh, okay, all right, this is
I was
different."
laughing. I thought it was cute. Kind of, not cute. It reminded me of the last season of Stranger Things. The way that those bodies were contorting. When they would. It
Yes,
reminded me a whole lot of that. But it was
yes.
it's. I personally really enjoyed Edmund's kill when he really did kill someone, even though that's probably more so the gruesome one. Even not just so much the initial, like the main killing in the desert. I liked him kind of toying with him and getting more into the serial killer aesthetics of it, and him physically, killing someone that way versus the contorting of the bodies and the cracking of the bones. But it was cute. What about you, Ashley?
So yeah, it was horrifying to me to see them people bent up in the cabinets. When I saw that lady crumpled up in the casket, he got her twist tied, tangled up
I
under there.
know.
And then when we actually got to see one of them actually bending and making, as it was happening, yeah, that was, a bit much. But I mean, to me, most of the unalivings absolutely made sense. She was nasty work, right? The foster mother, nasty work.
Yes.
The little boy whose brother was sent away because he was so bad, Benito's brother, right? That made a lot
Mm-hmm.
of sense to me. The drug dealer, I thought maybe that was just about bad parenting, neglect, something like that. That's what that gave me. But yeah, I mean, now I will say this. Edmund's situation where he lets the demon go, he takes himself back and then gets I guess reanimated and then crumpled up again. That one kind of sent me a little bit because I'm like, did he get all of a sudden get his human form back? Like, I guess that's the part I was like, huh? I mean, okay. I guess
I
that was the only one that I had questions on. I was like,
I
huh.
expected a little bit more blood. The contorting was cool. I think the first time I saw it, it was like okay. Then the second time I saw it was like okay. Then like getting to the third and fourth time, I was like okay. I just I wanted to know the significance of why he would kill them in this way. I don't know if y'all can elaborate on that or if I missed it, but is that
Probably
in
so he
any
could
way
fit in a
tied?
box.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they could fit in a box.
Oh, child, tell
Mhm.
me something.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah, even when he's talking to her about, in that last tape where he recorded when she rejected him after he visits, he's talking
yeah,
about how he's still now like gasping for air. And then in the last
yes.
episode, I think they show us them in that box with the
Mm-hmm.
straw, but they're all crumpled up inside of it. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, oh,
Yeah, but not even just
oh.
so much that part. Like, what about the covering of the mirrors, the electricity of, he didn't want us to go to sleep and we have all the TVs and the boom. And I was like, what's that
The
about? It
the
was,
the covering of the mirrors is like a traditional thing. Like I know for Jewish people, right, when they sit Shiva, when someone passes away, they cover the mirrors. It's like a
yeah.
superstitious thing, right? So you do it for mourning so you don't see anyone's reflection, but then also there's like some lore out there that if after someone passes away or is about to pass away, if you look in a reflection and see someone who passed in the mirror, then that person's next on the list, right? So they cover the mirrors so they won't be seen. But they didn't say that, right? In the series at all. But yeah, if you were to look it up, it's some people's custom and culture.
Let me read
Some
some
of
of
them.
these comments. It was the snap, crackle, and pop for me. What the hell is going on? Yeah, Candy. Thank you so much, Dane, for the $2. Let's see. I'm late, but I ain't watched the show. Hey, Tyra. It's okay, Dane. You can check it out. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Let's see. The scare killings have me. Yes, Stranger Things. Very much so Stranger Things. That's what I got too, Miriam. I love the name Miriam. It just instantly makes me think of courage. Let's see. Oh, see. Oh my God! Now we said it at the same times. Yes, definitely. I seen it. It was not. It was done a whole lot better here, but it was just. I thought he was. I just wasn't connecting the dots, I guess, quick enough for me to just really care about what was happening. Let's see. This was way better than the first season. All right. Let's see. Me read one more. Let's see. Yes, I could think of where I'd seen those twisted looks. Yes, very Stranger Things. Yes, we were all thinking alike. But leaving, all of this good carnage, good contortion, because it wasn't so much blood. I really liked the horror in the first season. I really did. Getting into the allure, Raggedy Andy roster manifestation demon. At least that's what I got from it. Kay, what did you think about yeah. What do you think about our demon here and the connection that it had to these dolls? For me, it came out of nowhere. It was just like Raggedy Ann doll. We do have him pick it up one time, and then we do have that moment with Pam Grier where she's like, "Oh, these are racist," and she's trying to throw him out and the whole thing with her job. But this, how did you feel about that transition, and how did you feel about the look of him as a whole?
I I'm trying to figure out if because it seems like the demon, like you said, where did he come from? He just came out of nowhere, and I'm thinking, is that a demon that was passed down from the family? Because
Yeah.
think about it, um their birth mother's family was they were all terrorized. They were living in a house that a deep, and that that evil house and that unholy ground and stuff. So I'm like, is this a demon that has just been passed down from their family, and it's showing up for Edmund in something that's recognizable, the dolls that their birth mother gave them.
CK, when you gotta do all that, they ain't do what they need to do. They didn't do what they needed. Well, we got to do all of that. They didn't do it because there is this allure that comes along with these dolls. There's always been these racial undertones with these dolls. There's been a kind of paranormal situation with these dolls, and I think everybody has their own kind of thoughts at this moment of what they represent and why. But I'm not giving them no notches for. I'm not do. I don't want to do. I want to do context clues for good reasons, not to fill in gaps for your lacking story. But go ahead, Kay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that because remember it because it went like the demon whole thing sped up real quick because there wasn't no hint of any demon
Yeah.
before Edmund killed the camera guy, and then all of a sudden he laying on the floor and the demon is like, oh hey, where did you come from all this time? So I'm like, it would have been nice to have seen if the demon had been like popping out during his lifetime
Yeah.
attached to the doll. So I'm like, was this demon passed down from his family, or was this something that he manifested because of how tightly he clung to that Raggedy Ann doll?
I I think the reason I didn't really connect to it heavily. First of all, I didn't like the way it looked. I felt like with it being so dark was because maybe it was executed so poorly, and we only wanted to show it in shadows. But the padding, I thought it could have been executed better on the visual front. But I think the context clues in the kills that this demon was supposed to be leaving behind to connect Don to this twin brother. I just thought it was handled poor. I didn't. It was like if we were trying to get our sister to retread the past, and I can understand the first kill completely, and then when we get off into we killed the sisters and the twins because it was twins, like what? Like what? And then that whole thing, oh, we killed the like, and then you threw them a bone, Ashley, like you do, because you sweet, like, oh, the father, it was because it was poor parenting, he killed that drug dealer because he was a bad father, like, okay. And we have the who else did he kill? The Hispanics, like, oh, that brother connection, and it
But what
was
about them two girls?
yeah, that's what I'm
Just because
saying.
they
It was
were
like we
twins.
killed because they were twins. We solely killed them
Yeah.
just because they were twins. I was like, I don't, and I get the Raggedy Ann and Andy situation and them being the twin sets and the just I guess the allure behind the Raggedy Ann dolls, but it was just like it wasn't connecting cohesively for me to be like, oh, that was really great, that was really creative. What about you, Ashley? What do you think about the Raggedy Andy roster manifestation demon?
Yeah, I think I just think it was a representation, right? As it goes back to their mom, who is really connected to the first storyline.
Mhm.
But I'm with Kay. I definitely think, and if in this, it'll get a little spiritual right now, right? So there's the idea that generational curses are attached to bloodlines, right? So
Mhm.
whether or not you're raised in that family, whatever, for generations and generations, the sins of the father, whatever curse was put on the family. And we know that white man in season one cursed all the black folks, right? He made a deal
Yeah.
with the devil to curse everybody. And so I
Mhm.
think that every generation, if they continue this as an anthology series, I think every generation will have an iteration of some sort of demonic activity. Now, I think with him, I think it was a constant battle. And again, I'm putting maybe more into it, right? But because at the end, right, when we see the kind of ultimate showdown, she also has, I'll call it a shadow self, or like this
Mhm.
demon representation of her. I think it's
Mhm.
about giving into it, which is why I think the
Yeah.
scene before he unalives himself is so significant, because it's like he's having a conversation with
Conversation.
this other part of himself. I think when he unalives the camera guy who laughed at him, I think that was just the sacrifice, right? I think that opened the door. And I think before he unalives himself and he's like, he's going to give himself over to, I think that's what solidified that demon, whatever it was, to go about doing
Ashley, you
freely. And
better write
so,
that script. You better
but when
write
we
that
see
script.
her, but
And think about how he was that he the adopt their adoptant Pam Grier said that he showed out when she took the doll from him, Raggedy Andy from him.
Mhm.
And because I'm sure they didn't know at the time that their birth mother gave it to him, but I'm thinking if he showed out that bad holding on to that Raggedy Andy doll, was Raggedy Andy whispering to him like the Green
All
Goblin
the
man the
time.
whole time?
Whole time.
maybe.
I was waiting on confirmation for that also, in
Mhm.
that maybe it just didn't get to done because she didn't allow those thoughts to kind of manifest within her. And you see, like, she had a completely different life and a completely different upbringing, and she was loved, and he just kind of felt abandoned amongst other things. It just really didn't give me no answers, child. Let's see. The one kill that missed for me was the woman rolled up near the dumpster. Was she not connected? No, she was. The hash slinging slasher, the strangler that was running around Los Angeles, is the one that killed her. We saw that for absolutely no reason. That had nothing to do with anything. They were just. It was filling for the show. It was filling for a serial killer running around killing women that wasn't even really essential to the plot, or just maybe for them to have us think that it was Edmund, because I surely did. I surely
I
did.
have I have a question for y'all about the unalivings though. If he had gotten a little bit more time and that hooker hadn't have been more savvy, right, to
Yeah.
to get help, do you think he would have taken her out in there? Do you think it would have been like a spree? Because he did only get one real kill in real life. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I think he had the potential to do it, but he had more of a need to want it. He had something against that cameraman, like the
he
hooker
left
ain't
him.
really she ain't do nothing to him for him to really be motivated enough to really hurt her. But he had something with that cameraman though. Like he was
I bet.
like you tried to embarrass me in front of my girl type
He
thing, you
didn't do
know?
nothing. He didn't do nothing. His little delusional ass. That man ain't do nothing
In
to
his
you.
mind, that was his woman, and he was gonna get that part. That was
With the
his
things in
role.
that trunk, and how it was like he was gearing himself up. It was just escalation, because it didn't seem like she was the first person that he picked up. It was just kind of, I'm
Mm.
gearing up to
Mhm.
get myself to the point that I can actually, I think he would have killed her. I absolutely think he would have killed her, and then we could have got more into the, I just knew he was going to be a serial killer. Such a missed opportunity.
He really wanted to be Jason, like for real. Like he was
And I
like,
wanted that
let
for
me
him. I
he was
wanted that for us.
he wanted it. He was at the police station, like, tell people it's me. I did this.
Yes.
Like he was
Yes.
disappointed when they was
Not
like, he ain't nobody.
even with the just
Mm.
leaving the manifestation demon, him and the whole, for so much of the show we are following him as he chases this acting career, and it was almost like he was craving this notoriety and just to be famous in this big break. And a lot of serial killers, they get that when they become serial killers. And I was like, somebody change. I don't care. Somebody writing this changed their damn mind from whatever this was, because it was like we were gearing up. He was hitting every single beat of that, and then it was just like, oh no, we're just gonna break into this man's house and mess it up and poop in the toilet and kidnap him.
That
And
was
yeah,
trifling. I could have done without that. I could have done without the poo.
I was like, what? It felt like just something was missed, and it was just like, hey, remember these Raggedy Ann dolls? I was like, put them back over there. I wasn't worried about those. But I can definitely get into the generational trauma and this being a demonic entity that was following the family. But it really would have helped me out if I would have known if this was there present in his life from the beginning. That way we could have really got into maybe some of these behaviors that he was indulging in as a kid that were unsavory, that had people and parents wanting to push him away and send him back. We would know why, and if they were there at all. But once again,
and think about it, it still had to be present, because at the end of season 1, we were led to believe that they defeated all of their their demons and whatnot. But from how we saw the oldest daughter, who now has her own kids, is like, if that, like, they can't stay here with me. That kind of shows that was telling me that she know that it wasn't gone.
Mm-hmm. And she thought she was saving them by, yeah. I would have wished to see Dawn. I would have wanted them to explore her other side more too. Like, if we had gotten to see more of her, Raggedy Ann or whoever, that would have been interesting to see.
Like
but
I really feel like one of those kills was her. I really feel like one of those kills was
can you just put that
on? Like, I don't think Edmund did all those.
Well, I mean, like it would have made the story a whole lot better. In fact, when the moment that we have her entity standing behind her, I was like, ooh, has it? I thought we were gonna get like, oh, it was her too. It was like, no, it was, it wasn't. She wasn't connected, because they do spend a lot of time trying to incriminate her just as much as the killer, who could maybe have a hand, because she is conveniently connected to every single one in some place. She keeps making those dumb decisions that incriminates her even more. So I think that would have just really helped and gave her even a better understanding of Edmund Gang's character, and just give us some understanding with her, because she's just so emotionally unavailable to, damn near everybody, even her own son. But we just kind of lean more into, I'm adopted, and then we just leave. We leaned in with that, and then we stayed there
and run out to that man that was a useless character. How you be mad and I'm adopted, and you go see him and then don't even tell him nothing, and we don't see him anymore throughout the series.
And that's another question someone put in the chat. Why didn't he unalive them? Because they threw him away too, right? The White family. Why didn't he touch them?
We wouldn't want to do that now, would we? We wouldn't want to do that. Like, I thought you couldn't tell me with that interaction, because that was pretty much his last hurrah and his cry for help. And
but I guess if he would have did that to his adopted family, Dawn would have never noticed. He tried to get people that was close around her to get her attention.
Mattered.
Yep, and they tried to get her attention. If he would have killed them white people, I mean, that she wouldn't have known nothing about that. He just killed them for no reason. He was trying to, like, I'm trying to get your attention. Like, look over here. I need you to see me. Like those videotapes. Somebody look at me.
Thank you so much, Lady Lisa, for the $5 super chat. Let's see. Why were the tidy whities needed? Oh, we covered them Jeffrey Dahmer draws.
Go to their homes and they sit on the floor and they
They were trying to bait us for him to be that serial killer, and he just was not. I was like,
that's part of what they
do. We had old tidy whities and sweat on our back for nothing. Fine. Elliot from Movie Files is in the house. Hey, Elliot. Let's see. Yeah, I thought they were going to reveal her memory loss or suppressed memories, right? Like, yeah, they just chalked it off. Elliot as you told me he was my imaginary friend. Like, oh, you son of a, like, y'all upsetting me. Let's see, she killed before but forgot. Yeah, we didn't. She just completely left here all the way unscathed. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. Let me go in here and show y'all some super chat love, because we love some shmoney's. We be right back. Y'all keep showing us some love.
for him to have acted like that, being that doll taken away from him, that demon was like whispering the whole time. And if Andy had one, why wasn't it in Raggedy Ann too?
Oh,
Like,
no,
was that why
severity.
Dawn was so withdrawn her whole life? Think
Something.
about it, how she was just always like disconnected from people.
Mhm. No, I just felt like there was nothing. I thought that the connection was just supposed to be Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy, just that whole, because I think they had old cartoons and them actually being twins and them just being so connected to each other. I think it just manifested itself in this kind of form for him because that was the only connection he had with the sister. I don't think that the dolls were possessed. I don't think so. Were they? Because I think if he would have left, a Tonka truck behind, try would have been a damn Tonka truck standing in the door for all we know.
I
It could have been anything.
I really just think it's about what they represented, right? I think it was
Mhm.
just that tie. It was that original kind of tangible thing, that the last thing that their birth mother had given. Not that they could have any recollection or memory of it though, but something he just held on to, and it became like I don't want to say a talisman, right? But it became a
Mhm.
representation of something
Oh,
else, and it was a point of contact maybe for his.
definitely. She said Edmund got to keep his doll. Pam Grier threw Don's doll away. Yes, she did. Like, I,
Was we ever going to explore the fact that Dawn had that repressed her whole knowledge of having a twin? Like, even though the mom was like, I told you that that was an imaginary friend, but she literally forgot that whole scenario happened. That's
oh,
another form of mental health issues in itself. She had
oh,
all of these repressed things that happened in her life that she had no knowledge of.
why?
Like, we never
Why?
talked about that part.
And that
Why?
was more sinister of
Yeah.
Athena, right? Because
Mhm.
why would you do that?
Do
Like,
that.
why would you try to erase the memory of this little girl's brother after you threw him away? Like, again, I do. I feel, someone said it in the chat, I feel like Pam Grier's name, notoriety, talent was wasted in this
Yeah.
role as Athena,
Here we
because it was
go.
like, huh?
Because don't do
Huh?
Pam.
Listen,
Don't do
Popsy.
Pam. First of all, y'all know I love me some Pam Grier. I love me some Pam Grier, and she, give me, Blackula, give me Bones, scream
I was
Blackula,
just like, she
scream.
got her own little,
You know, I'm
horror,
sorry.
she a horror legend in itself.
Yeah, she does. Amongst other things, she was so wasted here. She was so wasted here, and then we had the nerve to chop her head off. Like, she was so wasted here. I was very, very disappointed. She did, well, because she's, it's Pam Grier with what she had, but I thought she was going to serve a higher purpose. They spent so much time on her having this, deep seated regret, and I'm hiding something, and the shame. When we actually, revealed what she was hiding, I was like, I swear, I was like, that's it. Even though it's major, I'm concealing this whole aspect of a twin. In this, I was the aspect of her giving the twin back, or Edmund back. I didn't really care too much about that. I wanted to know when and how she could just suppress her memories, and you have no, like, you can't tell me my damn twin is an imaginary friend. Like, you just can't. And I have absolutely no recollection of it. I'm like, did she put sprinkle a little hoodoo on? Like, what happened? Like, how?
Exactly. That is evil. That girl had a whole repressed memory of the closest person that was to her, and that you took that part away, and she literally, her brain made her forget. Like, do you not think that you're an evil mom after that? Like, you think you're still a good person after you did that?
It was. She was completely wasted here, and I expected more. The receptionist, I expected her to die, and I was disappointed that she didn't. It was a waste of the week. I feel like we wasted time spending with her.
I
Who told Iman Shumpert he needed to be anybody's father? Y'all could have got any. That ain't even nobody's father. I mean, he's somebody's
no.
father, but not that old boy's father. It did not mix. He looked like an older brother. I could have done without Iman. I'm sorry, and he served absolutely no purpose. He didn't really add anything to the story. The partner down here didn't add anything. The most I like, which was sad because we didn't spend any time with the cameraman who eventually died because he had this vendetta. But that's the only character or side character that I felt like wasn't an absolute complete waste and served a purpose. I wasn't invested in any of these people in the time that we were spending with them. I just wanted to go see what Edmund was doing.
Okay,
Ashley,
I had a list of just useless characters.
or am I missing anybody?
You meant the boyfriend?
Oh, child, he was in the thing like that in Dawn's little her. We did all of that to just show like, oh, she's emotionally unavailable, and girl, you've been playing with my feelings, and it's been 2 years. I want more. I was like,
Oh,
uh,
the son's little friend. What was
friend.
she wasn't even that helpful as a friend. Like again,
Mm-mm.
useless.
It didn't
Useless.
get friend. It get we just smoke weed under the bleachers and that's it. Because if you flip on me as soon as you find out who my mother is, child, you are my friend. But that just wasn't. That didn't do anything. It was just a host of uselessness happening, and we don't do that to Pam Grier because I don't play that. Ashley, what
I
about you?
I just needed Auntie Mother Pam, okay? Um, when you get that call in the middle of the night to go to the toy shop, I need you just not to go because my thing is in real life, in reality, you're gonna have to come get me. I'm not leaving the comfort of my home. I'm not getting dressed. I'm not putting hair on. I'm not doing all that to go to the place to be beheaded. That's just not what we're gonna do. Come get me. You want me. Come just come get me.
When
Not
he
doing it.
took the
That's the
time
that's
to
the thing.
toy with her, was her trembles like her something? Because I thought she had Parkinson's for a minute, or she was about to develop Parkinson's. Because we have moments of they keep kind of hovering over, especially like the shop owner, like you're shaking, like you need to get help, or you're. I was just like, was that just the spirit or whatever? Because she keeps saying, everybody keeps saying he's coming. I was like, okay, he's coming, he's coming, he's on the way.
I think that
Was
was her
that
guilty conscience
that was
eating
just
at
the
I
her.
shape
agree.
with the guilty conscience? Okay. Tell me. Okay, that's right. I'll
But she's
take
been holding
that.
that for 30 some years. How many years you gotta lie like that?
Mm.
Like just lying. Just lying.
Lying. Not even just that. Like I just really wanted them to have. We just had Dawn, rightfully so, be upset, but we didn't even get into Pam has the monologue, but it's like how and when, why, like why did you go as far to suppress my memory? And it's just like, well, you missed your brother so much that I just decided to, tell you that he was your imaginary friend. But it's like, damn, if you missed him that much, why would you ever think that he was an imaginary friend?
But what that was
I
gonna do to her
her
her mental state.
mental state later. I don't know. It was a host of wasted characters here, and I expected a little bit more. Like I think at the point of him stalking the receptionist is when they decided, you know what, we want to go in a different direction. Instead of him rolling up on this receptionist and killing women and just becoming this serial killer, we just gonna have him roll up on the cameraman and do that, and we gonna go into the Raggedy Andy dolls. I was like, all right, that's fine. That's fine.
I will say I did enjoy, I mean, I didn't enjoy that unaliving, right? But I liked
Mhm.
that we got to see the struggle, right? Because there was still
Mhm.
some humanity in
Humanity.
his character in that time. Because before he took that shovel to him, I mean, he did struggle with it. The guy was pleading for his life. I liked that moment. Again, Luke James, I think
Mhm.
he did a great job
Yeah.
because I saw that in him. I'm like, okay, he's trying to be better, but not. He gave in. He gave in, but
He was
Everything
channeling
with
his inner Jason Voorhees at that point.
it just was it that was just such a desperation, and you said I'd be good, and just the sin happening, and it's just like I felt like we gave this Raggedy Andy doll this autonomy and power when I just really would have low-key enjoyed Luke James himself just getting possessed, because they could have still been cursed without that doll. I could have. He was more menacing to me, and the will here won't we don't when he came out and popped up on her.
Yeah, when he said,
And
and you know how calm he was, like, I think I have to go to the
yes,
restroom, and he came around
yes,
that corner. Girl, why
yes.
did you? And she stood there to talk to him. You should just went the other way. Why are you having a
exactly.
full conversation with this man?
Oh. No, those shots, the shots of him sitting in the car, and we flash from it being early daylight to nighttime, like he's stalking and progressing, and just him contemplating, and the like, him just being him was more menacing to me than what we got with the Raggedy Andy Rastafari situation. That didn't do as much for me, but we couldn't have that and not have he's coming in the mirrors and all of the victims in the tracing. I just felt like some poor choices were made, and if we would have wrote this a little differently, this could have been bum as hell. But don't ever in your life waste Pam Grier's time again. She is a woman of a certain age. We need to get everything out of her while we still can. Stop it. Let me move on. Actually, but once we get pretty much, I guess, the ending, and we try to have this connection, Ashley, were you fulfilled with this connection? Wait, let me get back here. Were you fulfilled?
Again, we would have to make some kind of wild, sweeping inferences because they still didn't give us everything, right, that they could have. I appreciate the connection, right? It doesn't make it a real anthology though, right? Because the stories are connected. So you go into it thinking, oh, we're going to be completely independent of season 1, but then it's like, no, but it's all connected. But yeah, I mean, we saw the youngest daughter, or the oldest daughter, excuse me, that these were her babies, her twins. But like you said earlier, you know, we can't raise her in this because we're still haunted. My mama's still a Looney Tune, like it the most, right? And so they'll have a better life, and given to this woman who's supposed to be a caretaker who is the bottom of the barrel. That's despicable. That foster mother, yeah, that character, that actress did a great job. Listen, everything, all twisted, turned, tied up in that cabinet. That's exactly where she deserved to be. I wish we would have gotten more still. What were the events around her becoming a teen mom and having these babies? Who was the father? Is there some kind of connection there?
Yeah.
Those are some of the questions I'd still have, and I would have wanted them to put that together for us more on the back end. But the connection, I was like, okay, it's connected. It makes sense. Generational trauma, right? That
Ashley said, okay. I thought it was the poorest thing I've ever seen. I thought that connection was so weak. I was like, no, don't y'all waste my time with this. I thought it was just going to be, we didn't see anybody except for Dawn. And Dawn is, we didn't see any of the characters except for Dawn returning from the previous season. I thought that this was going to be its own separate thing, and we weren't going to try to connect it in that way. We were just going to go on with our little anthology lives. This was so poor to me, and I hated it. With an H. I hated it. Okay? I thought this was so poorly executed, and it was just so weak. I was like, y'all couldn't do nothing else. Who wrote that? Y'all know I said it when I don't like it. Who wrote that? I thought this was so poor. The choice of I hated it so much. It was just so underwhelming to me. And if this was what y'all were going to use as a plot point to make it connect to the first season or just the family in general and just this, there could have been so many other things and so many other goddamn opportunities to do that. We chose this and her.
Ugh. I feel like, even though I did like the connection, I feel like if they would have started the show off, maybe showing her, but maybe not her complete face, but showing her being pregnant and maybe still being haunted by the demon, like showing somebody that's like pregnant and scared. That way, when we seen her, we would have been like, oh, that's why she gave him away.
So it was just like, oh, I can't. Here you go. Here you go. I
would have liked to see just a little bit of her, of why she was so afraid.
Even just, I thought for a brief moment that Dawn at that moment was going to have an interaction with the mother, and then maybe we would get, some clarity there and they would talk. Nah, she just dropped them kids off and she left. I just thought it felt rushed, and it felt very last minute to me. It just felt like somebody didn't know exactly when and how they wanted to connect it, but they knew they had to put it in there somewhere. So we gonna just sprinkle that on there like some old ass parsley. I really didn't like this connection. I'm sorry.
I didn't mind it. I just wish it would have been developed more. Give us
me too. Me too.
It was very underdeveloped, and if it was gonna be this, they could have peppered in the connection to that old family, and it didn't have to be overtly obvious. That just could have been some treading of hey, this is maybe a little familiar of what such and such experienced in that first season. We're kind of seeing a connection, and then when this happened, it could have been like, oh, like, okay, it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
Hell
exactly.
no.
That's what we should. I feel like we should have seen like a pregnant girl, maybe not her face, like
Mhm,
being scared of seeing her still being haunted by the demon, or being afraid to be pregnant, or seeing a demon trying to take her babies, and we not
yeah.
knowing what it meant until that episode happened.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
even if
will
it was
say.
in the manifestation of that, Raggedy Andy situation, it's just like maybe if I give my children over to someone else and they're living somewhere else, it'll stop here. And not knowing that they're going to follow your family regardless. That would have helped me out a little bit because this didn't do nothing for me.
Well, I actually liked I liked the resolution. I liked them coming face to face. I will say that, and I like knowing that they both came from the same place and had completely different ends. Right. I do like kind of that we approach nature versus nurture, like what is in you innately, and then what being loved can do versus being rejected and
Yeah.
abandoned. I think, like I said, I think they approach so many good topics and themes, what generational trauma looks like in a bloodline, even if you don't know each other. I
Mhm.
really loved that they approached it. Again, I just hope and wished they would have developed it more. I think they could have done a lot more with it. But I think little Marvin, I think where he was going in the right direction. And I'm hopeful. Listen, I'm hopeful that if we get a season 3, which I think we will, because there's a ton of
Mhm.
buzz about it,
Mhm.
that I mean, this will force him to elevate. You know what I mean? People's constructive feedback. But I know, Tyra. I know, I
I
know.
just really hate a lack of character development in rush situation. This just felt like an afterthought, and it just really didn't work for me. And I didn't. But getting all the way to the end, speaking of afterthought and making those connections to the first season, of course we had to end off with Mister What You Gonna Do. We had to have that happen. Um, Kay, did the ending and her finding the photo, did that do anything for you? Did you know the menacing footsteps of Mr. What You Gonna Do coming up the stairs?
Mr. Mr. Tap Dance Jigaboo Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost brought me back to season one. What you
Yeah.
gonna do? I was
I
like,
really
okay,
I really liked him in season one. I really
I,
liked him in season
I
one.
did
I
too.
did.
I was
I really,
actually excited to see him. And of
yeah.
all the demons that was plaguing her, the generation before her, that family, it's like this is the one that she gets. And thinking about that, the tap dance man was kind of haunting who would be her grandfather, because remember how he felt being a black man in that work environment,
Yeah.
and her almost being parallel to being this black woman in this and that working environment. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking like maybe this is why he's the one that showed up for her.
Hmm. I guess. And I was thinking that too, but I was like, if it was always going to be that, then we shouldn't have had her embodiment of her Raggedy Andy situation there. It should have just always maybe have been that and connect her to the grandfather from the first season. Like, it should. I think that would have been executed a little bit better because he was really prominent playing on Homeboy's intentions and emotions and getting under that skin of the scenario of him being othered and how that feels. I think that would have
Mhm.
worked a whole lot more. And just even her little Raggedy Andy situation, like they must have ran out of makeup when it got to her doll or her little manifestation. Because child, that little wig wasn't doing that wig. They was putting a lot of stock in wigs and creepy smiles. I needed a little bit more props. Actually, how did you feel about this?
We
What,
didn't
giving
really get to
giving
see her
Tyler
fully.
Perry-ish wig?
We didn't, it wasn't very well lit, so we really didn't get to see her in the fullness. But here's my presupposition, okay, you guys. I honestly think that we'll see both Tap Dance Man, Mr. What You Gonna Do, and her Raggedy Ann as we move forward. I think that he's just attached to the family, so it could be her or the son at this point, that he's attached to. But yeah, I think she's going to be up to no good. She's probably going to act out. We know as she walked out of her hearing, it was F the police. So I'm kind of interested to see where they're going to take it. I mean, is she going to be the one wreaking havoc, post Rodney King in this same time frame, or what?
Mhm.
But I think it kind of leaves your imagination open. But yeah, I don't think this may be the last we've seen of Raggedy Ann because she didn't really end like he did, like his did,
Mhm.
right? She just went back into
Mhm.
the shadows. So I
But
think if maybe she
actually,
gives into this guy, we could
Mhm.
see a reemergence, right? And
but
I'm
I
gonna
don't want
just
to see her no more.
oh,
I
we're
don't
gonna
want
see this beautiful melanated queen again.
No, no, not her. She's gorgeous. I love
Oh,
her and she's
Raggedy Ann,
watching
you're
her, but
talking
I
about.
don't want to see that. That was poor. I don't
They
want to
might
see
fix
that.
it.
Maybe they better do something because I just think when it just failed. With the tap dance man is such a full fledged realized character. Even if he was, veered over more in the season, I could have maybe he could have been, the lineage that's been passed down that's hunting. I could have dealt with a little bit more of him in the show, honestly. I definitely could have. I think that would have connected it even more to the first season, and maybe I wouldn't have felt like that little poor ass connection was such an afterthought. That would have helped me out. But him just coming up the stairs, it like sparked my interest because by this time, child, I was done. I was like really done, and they were like almost like, oh, we're gonna wrap it up in a little bow, and I was like, y'all not gonna end off being this happy kumbaya family. Like something's like and I thought for 5 seconds it was going to be that piss poor excuse of that Raggedy Ann all of her. I was like, oh, please, please don't show me that again. So when it was him, I was like, what you gonna do? Let's go. I was excited to see him.
It would have
I
been
was
cool to
excited to
see
see him.
him pop up after her experience with the clan members. I would have been interested to see that in
Mhm.
her interactions with her partner. So they could have sprinkled him in a bit earlier. That might
Definitely.
have.
I wonder.
Definitely.
I would like to know how her birth mother would feel knowing that she
Mm,
gave her children away and still couldn't save them from the demons that were following her family.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you gave your kids up for adoption basically for no reason.
Yeah.
And she's young enough to still be alive, right?
Mhm.
So we could
Mhm.
have panned to her house.
Her,
Could have went
the
to her
smaller
house.
sister, I thought we were going to see them in some way or shape or form, even if they were aged up and portrayed by different people and really heavily connected to that first season, if that's what we're going to do. Don't give me, that latchkey ending of, I'm giving my babies away. Like, okay, girl. That didn't do anything for me. But what do you guys think the direction that season 3 might go into? And it does look like we're getting into a progression of time going from
Mhm.
that era to the 90s. So what are we going to get
Mhm.
into the 99s and the 2000s next
I feel like yes,
time?
that we're gonna take it to the early 2000s.
I'm
Hmm.
far fetched, and being that I am a sci-fi girl, I would hope we would go future. I'd be so here for that. Um,
I don't think that's
but
in the
I'm
budget.
inclined to think that they are gonna probably do like, 40-year spans maybe, because it looks like that's what they did from the first season to this one is about what
Mhm.
30, 40 years. So they'll probably go another 30, 40 years into the future. But I'd be on some super futuristic
Uh,
sci-fi horror mix. I mean, that's just my personal.
I'm gonna just back it up for the 99 and 2000s because I really don't think the future is in the budget. They if they say they would save a whole lot. Stop purchasing them songs to get us on nostalgia. Stop purchasing music and get because you see that when the whole if we wouldn't have purchased all of that, we would have put money resources elsewhere. We could have got a better script.
But the music was a bop, though. I kind of
I
appreciate the
but that's
'90s
how they
music.
get you,
Vibe.
Kay. That's how they get you.
They got me.
That's how I know when I'm not enjoying something the way that I should. When I'm like, okay, just give me all yo. I was like, okay, there we go. We having a good time.
Threw me off
And then
singing my
I'm
prerogative. I
looking,
forgot he was at the little fair or whatever.
I was looking like, okay, I'm loving the hair. It's giving poetic justice. She got the little, I'm a phenomenal woman. That's me. It was giving, a whole lot of that. I was here for the aesthetic. And I was like, if I'm focusing on the aesthetic and how chocolate and beautiful she is, and like, oh, she's so pretty, the show isn't doing what it needs to do. I ain't supposed to be worried about that. I ain't supposed to be looking at none of that.
Beautiful gowns, beautiful
Oh.
hair.
If they did go to the future, that would be cool, but just for budgetary reasons, I would think that would be going, mid 2000s probably for me. What about you, Kay?
I think so too, because I'm thinking if we pushed it all the way into the future, like at this, if they brought it to like past 2024, how come y'all haven't solved the mystery of exorcising these demons yet? Like by that time, y'all should have called a priest.
Oh, listen, call the apostolics and the Pentecostals. I don't think the other ones be getting rid of them
I know.
sufficiently because they always come back. Call
It don't need to
somebody.
stretch out past no other generation, because by that time y'all need more. Everybody should be on the same page with new technology and figure out a plan to like get rid of it like once and for all. Like, why we still spreading this out into the future? We shouldn't be in flying cars and spaceships and we still being held down by the Jigaboo man.
Mm,
Okay, let me
mm.
read some of y'all comments here. Let's see. Very true. Raggedy Demon wasn't needed to connect the season 2 family to the first. They could have just had they could have just had what you gonna do, man. Demon from the first. Absolutely. I would have definitely been here for that. Let's see. That would have worked. I like that idea a lot. You know, I'm telling you, we could write a script on a good day. Like I'm starting to be convinced at this point. Let's see. They can start with the sun.
Mm.
Yeah. Do I really want to see more of the sun? I mean, it's okay. Or 2008 when Obama won president.
Pivotal.
Okay, I can see that. That's a yeah, very pivotal moment in time. Black sci-fi horror would be interesting. Yes,
Yeah.
but I'm like, where would we go with that? And like by that time, all of these people would have been, dead, and then we're getting into like you said, Kay, we still ain't we ain't ain't connected nothing.
We ain't
Let's see.
starting to read up on the dark arts or something, and the living dead. Like, we not reading and researching. Y'all, he should not still be around
Yeah.
at that point.
Let's see. Maybe we'll see the oldest sister grown up in season 3. Let's see. Most definitely here for the future aspect. We can see what happens to the youngest daughter in season 3. I really miss the daughters in the just. I like the family, the whole dynamic. I think it was just executed better, minus the things that pissed us off. The trauma portion of season 1, I thought season 1 was executed way better than this, but maybe that's just me. Let's see. Call call Ed and Lorraine. Call somebody, Miriam. Let's see.
No,
Sam
Sam
and
and
Dean.
Dean.
Let's see. In real life, Demon will be scared of us. Come half of us this light bill. Not
Mm.
half on this light bill. But yes, this has been like absolutely amazing. Do you ladies have anything else to add on, the plight of them season 2?
I just want to encourage little Marvin because I think he's doing some unique work, right? And he's getting greenlit for it. So I'm
Mhm.
here for the interesting stories. Do just keep doing better. You know what I mean? That's what I'm
Yeah.
here for. But I enjoyed it. It was super bingeable. Do I think there was
Mhm.
room for improvement? Absolutely. But did it have me? I was watching. I was intrigued. And like I said, I don't even do horror. So it's palatable for those of us who don't have a stomach for true horror. So yeah, that's my take. And thank you for having me. As always, this was super fun.
As far as little Marvin is concerned, that'll do. It does seem like from season 1 he did take heed of some constructive criticism and try to tone down certain narratives for this season. I feel like he was listening, and I hope he listens again, and we kind of meet half season 1 meet season 2, and if we put those things together and get one more person in that writer's room, I think the next season will be absolutely amazing. Kay, any words for little Marvin and them?
You can call me Lil Mark. Just call me. I am a call away. If you need some extra help on the writing staff, put me in the room. Just let me see the script or something ahead of time. I can help you out on that. I keep making this black horror. Don't stop now. Don't
Yeah, yeah,
stop.
we love that. I don't want to. I feel
I
like
don't
I
want
did
you to do that.
a lot of bashing here, but I have to be honest in my opinion. Y'all know if I don't like something, I just didn't like it.
We
There
know.
were some really great things here, and there were like bones here. There were bones to really make something fantastic, and it's just like we really didn't put them all together to put some meat on them bones. It just kept being bare bones, and I need a little meat. This is great. This is absolutely great. Of course, you guys have been amazing. Of course, I'm going to give Kay the first rodeo to come on down and tell the people where they can find you, what you do over there in that good old horror podcast, and maybe some of the things that you have coming down the pipeline. Go ahead and take it away, Kay.
please, everybody, hit that subscribe button. If you are a horror fan like me, if you really, really love this genre, we do a lot of horror. Our YouTube channel, The Fifth Wall, we do horror and we do sci-fi superhero stuff. If you're a Marvel, DC fan, we're talking about X-Men 97. If you love horror, we just did a review of Abigail and Late Night with the Devil. We have Interview with the Vampire. If you are a fan of that series, I encourage you to watch it. If you haven't, we definitely will be reviewing that coming up in May. Again, calling all horror fans, nerds, superhero people, please go and follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and tell us what kind of horror you think we should review. What are you watching? What should we be watching? Should we be going back? We also do some throwback stuff. So, some underrated horror that we haven't got a chance to talk about. Let us know. But calling all horror fans, please hit that subscribe button.
Hell yeah. Hit that subscribe button. Stop sleeping on people and please go and support, especially if you love horror. Kay is knee deep in the horror stuff. No pun intended with Tales from the Hood, but she knee deep in it.
I live in Halloween land.
So if you love good horror, please go over there and subscribe to whatever Kay has going on. Once again, this is what The Fifth Wall looks like, and go support her on all platforms. She also has a podcast. Go and check the stuff out.
Spotify, if you're subscribed to Spotify, we also have the audio podcast on there.
Yes, absolutely. Gonna take this off. Let me put my girl back up here. My sweet perspective that reviews everything. Let the people know what you have going on.
I will definitely be over there. I think I already subscribed to The Fifth Wall because listen, X-Men 97 is my jam. But no, so I'm doing some of everything, as Tyra said, but I am going back and doing a retrospective of Ghost seasons 1 through 3. That'll start Wednesday, the 5-part series. Honey, I will be doing Interview with a Vampire. I'm reviewing Under the Bridge, a little bit of reality. There is something for everyone over on the channel. So come on over, join the community, become a sweet pea. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I do some of everything. And hopefully me and Tyra have something coming down the pike. So just keep your notification bells, rang and hit the subscribe button. Thank you, Tyra.
Yes, absolutely. We most definitely have some stuff coming down the pipeline. If you are checking for Interview with the Vampire, we will be discussing it here. So keep your ears and all those good things perched. Sweet peas are so cute. That is so adorable. That is so adorable. Everyone's like, give them a name. Give them like, what am I calling y'all? The struggles? Like,
Strugglers.
I've never given a name, but that is really, really cute. I absolutely love that. But yes, let me get this last little super chat here of my favorite troll. Hello, Dane. Thank you for the $2. Sounds like the show needed some Tyler Perry magic, didn't it? It didn't. It absolutely didn't.